what is the best way to look at relationships, so that this can be an advice which can be a foolproof advice to selecting the right partner. So let's jump into some of the parameters that you need to look into, that you need to be careful about, that you need to check, that you need to maybe question, that you need to unravel, that you need to test before you want to take the relationship forward. Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends, from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. When we come to our lives, specifically connecting our lives to relationships, because who are we other than what our relationships are, and it is our relationships and our ability to be able to handle relationship that shows who we are, whether we are people of character, whether we have a certain personality, who can it be in a certain relationship and do justice to the relationship or not. And amongst all our relations, I think that the most important relationship is that of a better half, a partner, life partner, committed partner, spouse, or the girlfriend or boyfriend that we have at that point of time. So if that is the very important relationship, because that is what is the one which is closest to us, the person who knows us very, very intimately. Intimacy, by intimacy I don't mean only the sexual intimacy, because many people, the moment you use the term intimacy, feel it's about sexual intimacy. It's about intimately knowing you from the depths of your personality, your character, your likes, your dislikes, and the kind of person you are and who you are, and the kind of person you can be. So the better half, the spouse, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, those relationships are the most important for us, because at any given point of time, they are the ones who are closest to us. They know our deepest secrets. They also know our deepest desires. They also know our deepest flaws, and they also know what cheers us up, what can make us happy, and they are the ones who can truly, in various ways, which sometimes the family cannot do, they can cheer us up, they can make us feel happy, they can make us feel upbeat, or they can also make us feel like SHIT. So I am making this video because I made a couple of videos earlier also. Some of the videos have been liked a lot, where I've talked about the personality of the person or the character of the person or your better half, and how to look at the character, the personality of the person from various perspectives, and some questions also to be asked. However, one of my clients reached out to me and said, this is pretty good, but can it be more exhaustive? Because the person knows, and in fact the person has been getting consulting advice from me since almost 24 years now, that the person feels that I'm the Superman of relationship. I don't think I'm the Superman of relationship, but the person thinks that I am, because I've really helped him and many other people in terms of consulting somebody on relationships, especially the relationship with the better half or the opposite gender or your spouse. So the person said, can you make it more exhaustive, because different people may have different challenges that they run into. Can you make a video on what is the best way to look at relationships, so that this can be an advice which can be a foolproof advice to selecting the right partner, handling the right way with the partner, and also being known or knowing the red flags which we need to be careful about before we jump headlong into a relationship, so that we can avoid the hurt that we may go through if we don't look at these certain areas that we need to be more mindful of. So I thought this is not a bad idea, and if it can help people, where I can make a more exhaustive list, where I can give you more exhaustive pointers and certain areas, how you are able to look into those more deeply, and through those perspectives, through those approaches, be able to find out whether that person is the one who you should be able to take the relationship forward, or maybe commit to, or accept the person's proposal, if at all the person has proposed to you, before you go headlong into the relationship. Then I thought it would be useful. So here I am making a video where I'll give you a number of perspectives that you need to look at the relationship from before you take it forward. Whether you are in the initial days of dating, knowing the person, or wanting to take it forward, or you have been with the person maybe for even a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, but you want to make it absolutely sure whether this is the right person before you can take the relationship forward. Or you are running into some challenges, you have committed to the person, maybe even married to the person, but you are going through some or the other challenges every now and then, and this person doesn't seem to be the right person for you. You don't have the comfort factor. Then what should you do to look at the person from different perspectives before you end up spending too much time where you are too locked into the relationship? Then it becomes difficult to get out. If you are in the initial stages of even a committed relationship, even a married life, and if you can make certain before you waste a lot of your life, a lot of your time, then better late than never. So let's look at some of the factors that will warn us, will also tell us whether the person is the one person for us, the right person for us. May not be the ideal person for us, but based on how we are, not just from a bookish perspective how the other person should be, but basis how we are, this person seems to be the ideal one, or the ideal fit into a jigsaw puzzle that who we are. Because if the fit is not right, then the relationship will not be a long-lasting one, a stable one, and a happy one. So let's jump into some of the parameters that you need to look into, that you need to be careful about, that you need to check, that you need to maybe question, that you need to unravel, that you need to test before you want to take the relationship forward. So something that you need to look at. Now I have a list of 6 areas or 6 pointers where I'm going to tell you in detail about these 6 attributes which can make or mar a relationship. First is your shared values. Whether your shared values or the values are in sync with each other or not. Second is the abilities of the person, and whether their abilities tie into your abilities and is a good match and is a good balance or not. Third is a test of the character of the person, whether the person has a certain character because of which the person is fit for a relationship or not. Then the fourth is whether the person has certain competencies, certain capabilities which are required for in a relationship. Then what is the daily dose, as I call it? That means on a day-to-day basis, is it easy to live with the person? Is it easy to work with the person? Is it easy to hang around with the person? Is it easy to live with the person? And then lastly, you need to be watchful of some red flags, which in the initial stages or in the maybe mid stages, if there's been some time that you have already spent with the person, maybe a year or two, or maybe even if you have spent 4 or 5 years before it's too late to waste your life, you check on the red flags, which later on may become more cumbersome and may unravel one by one. Why not unravel all of them at one go, so that you are absolutely sure that this person is the right person for you or not. So let's jump into these 6 areas, approach them one by one, and then each one of the areas see how you are able to approach that particular area for that person and try and see whether the person fits the bill, considering the kind of person you are. Now, for example, the first area, shared values. This is the critical area of any relationship, the most important, because if your values are very, very different from the other person's values, then it's very difficult to spend their life with the person, because you may be looking at something which a lot of importance, the person will completely be negligible to that area, may just not think that the area is even worth it. So the person may not want to spend time or effort on that. So what your values are, to some extent or to a great extent, if not to a perfect extent, there should be an amalgamation, or there should be a lot of overlap between the values. Not some overlap, at least good enough overlap so that you can live with each other. You can also respect each other's values. So say for example, if you look at your own values, what are your own values? Is your own value family, adventure, honesty, hard work, goals, friends, prioritizing, financial security, whatever your values are, make a list of your values which you think are your values. Sometimes we think we have values, but we have not given it attention. First, make a list of those values which you feel are very, very important for you, and then tell yourself or validate them by thinking, why did I say family is very important? Why did I say hard work is very important? Why did I say honesty is important? Am I generally an honest person? Do I give a lot of importance to family? And once you have asked all these questions to yourself, or from yourself, and then you arrive at a list of your values, say 10 to 15 values, whatever. Then the person who you are with, or you are testing whether you should be with the person or not, check on the values of the person. For example, ask, what are the values which drive you? So the questioning is very, very important in such a manner that the person doesn't feel he or she is being interrogated. So over a cup of coffee or having dinner, very casually you ask person that this is an activity which we did at work, which was a lot of fun. We did have activity about values. So what do you think drives you? What are your set of values? What are the principles that you live by? So now the person says, fairness is very important for me, peace is very important for me, love is very important for me, living it up is very important for me, having a good lifestyle is very important for me. So these are set of values which I live by. So check how many of these values confirm to you, or you feel these are important ones, and these are overlapping your values. Then once you are sure that these are the values of the person, by asking him a few questions. Why do you think that honesty is very important? Are you somebody who is generally very honest most of the time, or all of the time, because of which honesty is important for you? Or you expect others to be honest where you are not so honest, so you expect the value in others but you yourself are not very honest yourself. So by probing a little bit in a very playful manner, in a more nudging manner, in a more fun manner, you may be able to take out a lot of things. For example, if the person says peace is my value, then ask, why is peace your value? For example, if you have trouble at home, will you ask entire family to shut up because the environment at home is not peaceful, and you want quiet at home, so you want everybody to shut up? Is that what you're saying? So if the person says, yeah, I mean, who wants a ruckus at home because somebody is screaming, shouting? That's why I don't live with any of my family members. I like my peace, I like my space, so I live separately, I live alone. And this person may be hanging around with his or her friends, maybe spending time with them, but is the person fit to be in a relationship, living under the same roof with some person? Because the person wants peace all the time. Sometimes there may not be peace at home. There may be a little bit of ruckus. There may be a little bit of misunderstanding also. So checking the values of the person by asking questions, by nudging the person, and arriving at a common list, or at least an overlap of lists, is very important, because if your values are very, very different from the other person, then it's a problem. At least the top 5 of your values which you will never sacrifice for anything. For example, you may not sacrifice honesty. You will generally a very honest person. Secondly, you may not sacrifice your family at any given point of time. Family is very important to you. Third, hard work is very important for you. You like to work hard. Goals are very important for you. And for anything, for fun or adventure, you will not sacrifice your hard work, your goals, for example. Then it is very important for you to know whether the other person also believes in the same set of values. If the person feels fun is more important for me rather than hard work, what is life if I'm not having fun? And the person wants to indulge in fun most of the time rather than work on priorities, work on goals, and then take some time off for fun, then it is a important point for you. Is this the right person? So this is the first area: shared values, overlap of values, or at least among the top 10 values that you have, there should be at least 4 or 5 values which the person has to begin with. Ideally, even 6 or 7 values which overlap could tell you this person seems to be a more closer fit than what some other person can be. Then the second area, the abilities that the person has. What are the abilities we're talking about? Abilities is about the interpersonal abilities I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about the competence. Abilities on an interpersonal level between person to person. So for example, does the person has an ability to give space? So if you're down, out, you're not in your best of mood, you say, just leave me alone, I'm not in a good mood, let me give, just spend some time to myself. I will figure something is on my mind, I will take care of it, then I will be back to myself. So the person is too inquisitive, too anxious. What is it? What is going through your mind? Can I help you? Why don't you talk to me? Why don't we discuss? And the person is just not ready to give you the space. So it shows that the person's ability to give space somewhere is compromised. Then can the person show flexibility? Flexibility in terms of time, attention, his or her own needs, and working around his or her own priorities, his or her own goals. If they are not able to show the flexibility, then there is a challenge. Because sometimes you may need the flexibility from the person, sometimes you need to show the flexibility. So only expecting flexibility from the person, whereas you are rigid, may not help. Then third, can the person be understanding of your choices, understanding of the differences between you two, understanding of your temperament, understanding the choices of your lifestyle also. So because if the person is not understanding of the differences, respectful of the differences, sometimes even is appreciative of the differences, because sometimes that is more fun. If two people exactly like each other, it becomes so boring. There may be some element of something that somebody brings some flavor of personality that somebody brings to the relationship, somebody brings another flavor that makes a potpourri of a lot of flavors in the relationship. It's a good fruit salad, you can say. So can the person show that understanding? Does the person have that understanding of your choices, of your temperament, of your lifestyle, and so forth? Because if the person is, then the person also has the ability to back off when needed. Sometimes the person has to back off. The person doesn't need to be too interfering. Sometimes you are dealing with your own family. Sometimes you are dealing with a friend. Sometimes you are dealing with some matter at work. So there the person need not be too nosy. If you need help, you will tell the person. You may maybe discuss with the person. Sometimes you don't want, you are okay and you are capable. You may be requiring some time off. You may be requiring to be left alone a little bit. But can the person back off when it's needed? And can the person show the patience to back off, not to be too nosy, not to be too interfering in this situation? Now, every time you can't tell the person to back off. If the person is somebody who you also consider to be friend or competent or intelligent, then you will obviously share. Every time asking the person to back off, I need to solve things on my own, back off, be patient, may not be fair enough. The person also expects you to involve him in your life because he or she wants to make that investment. So be fair to the person. If the person wants to be involved, try and see if the person can be involved. At least you can discuss or tell the person, this is what is troubling me. I will handle my things, and then I'll get back to normal. Rather than saying, no, back off. There is something going on in my mind. I will not tell you now. Maybe I'll tell you later, but right now back off. So then the person is thinking what's going on. So you need to also be able to show the patience that you're expecting from the other person. Then can the person be quiet when sometimes you are a little upset, you are getting a little cranky, and you are getting a little heated up? Can the person manage their peace, manage their quiet, allow you to let off your steam before the person says, you know what, you're too angry earlier, you were a little upset, I want to leave you alone, so that's why I didn't want to talk, I just let you be. How is it? Are you okay now? Because that time you were very upset. So can the person be quiet, and can the person cool off during that time? And if the other person gets very angry, can the other person cool off? You say, hang on, you are being too angry, too upset. Can you calm down? The person immediately realizes and then is able to calm down or cool off and say, okay, yeah, I think I'm getting too upset, too angry. Let me take a break. Let me be for some time. I'll cool off and I will calm down myself. And can the person forgive? Sometimes there may be small things couples can do to each other in the relationship. Maybe dash your car, graze your car, break something which you like, or forget some errand that you want to run, forget maybe an important birthday or something. Birthday may be too unforgiving, but maybe something which you told the person to remind you of told something about something, and the person doesn't remember. Can you forgive small things rather than pile those small things up, make them a mountain out of a molehill? Then can the person remember promises? If the person says, okay, I promise I'll never do this, I promise I'll get this to you, I promise I'll repair this, I promise I'll run this errand for you, I promise I will fetch this person from their work or whatever, before coming. So something like that before, when the person promises, does the person remember the promises? Does the person make note of the promise? Does the person add that to their calendar, through their Google Assistant? You can just tell Google, please remind this to me at this particular time. Technology is there to help you. How difficult is that? And if the person needs to correct some certain things in their behavior, in their personality, can the person correct those things? So if you tell the person that, see, this is something that you get cranky. The moment I bring up about finances, about goals, about a holiday, you get angry, you get upset. Why do you lose your cool? Why do you lose your mood? Can you be more chill? I want to talk about something, why should you lose your cool? So some certain things, certain aspects of behavior, for sometimes taking care of hygiene, sometimes leaving the bed undone, sometimes not being able to switch off the light, sometimes not able to switch your parking lights of the car. Few things that the person may need to correct, may also tell you that you need to correct. So can the person also correct their behavior if pointed out, because even small things need to be taken care of if it's a bad habit. Then can the person be friendly? If not a friend, sometimes a spouse cannot be our best friend. Sometimes it's also good, because if he or she is your best friend and you have to talk about his challenges, and he or she is not able to have a discussion with you, then you need somebody from outside of the relationship to have an outside perspective in. So can the person be at least friendly, if not the best of friends? Especially if you're going through a challenge, if you have a run-in with your friend, can you go and talk to your spouse, or can you go and talk to your partner or potential partner that you're looking at? Then can the person have healthy conflicts with you without carrying negative baggage? We have conflicts from every now and then, but does the person carry that negative baggage for years on end? I remember in 1942 you did this, I remember in 1975 you did this, I remember in 1992 you did this on that day. Man, that life can be too difficult if somebody has all the dates and they are carrying all the negative baggage. Then when you have too much piled up, all the negatives, then the person starts to look at you very negatively. Now you need to also be careful. If you are the one who is always having challenges written down every bit, then you also need to be somebody who is ready to let go of the baggage, especially if you are the one who's a bigger, larger troublemaker. So this is something which is very important. Then competence capabilities of the person. For example, is the person intelligent? Is the person sharp enough? Can the person see if the situation is arising, getting into a conflict? Can the person be sharp enough, intelligent enough? Can the person showcase intelligence where matter solving, disputes are concerned, or sudden issues, sudden obstacles, sudden problems are concerned? Suddenly some notice comes, suddenly some tax issues come, suddenly a car breaks down. Does the person have the sharpness of mind and intelligence to be able to think on his or her feet and able to take care of those things? And can they take care of themselves if they run into something of that sort? Somebody, your spouse's car breaks down 50 miles away from your place of work, and the person says, my car has broken down, can you come over and help me? You're 50 miles off. How much time will it take for you? Can the person take care of small things? Call you and say, my car has broken down, but don't worry, I'm getting help. I'm just letting you know I'm at this place, and this is my location. I'm giving you Google location just to let you know. But I've asked some help. The car service people are on the way. Once they come, they'll be able to help me, and then I'll keep you updated. So can the person take care of small things? Maybe at home, a plumbing thing, something breaks down, the person immediately tells you, the plumbing thing has broken down, you take care of it. Electrical thing happens, you take care of it. You may not be at home during that time. Maybe you are traveling, maybe you are at work. Can the person handle small things on their own? And can the person work through conflicts with you if and when the conflict arises, or it's difficult for you to sit down and even talk about your conflicts? Most of the time you have to let go. Oh, this is a big problem, this is a challenge, so it's not better not to talk about it. So let's not talk about it, because we may get into a larger fight. Some couples do that. So, but what happens? These things simmer on. It's always better that people are able to talk through their conflicts, sit down like two mature people and handle it, and then whoever needs to correct their behavior, whoever needs to be a little flexible, that needs to be done. And then the very important area about character. Can the person show character that the person is committed, wants to be committed, gives importance to commitment, and also seeks commitment from you? Because if you are not sure whether the relationship can go forward, you're not sure whether the person is committed to you, you're not sure whether the person also seeks commitment from you, then there is a challenge, because the person may be just having fun, maybe just passing his or her time before the person moves on to something else. Then can the person be respectful for the kind of person you are, for your values, your sets of beliefs, religious beliefs, political beliefs, whatever your beliefs are? And does the person also expect respect from you? If you are somebody who is always putting him down, putting her down, insulting the person, Does the person stand up for himself or herself? Show spine. It may not be that the person flies into a rage, but does the person say, hey, come on, you can't say those things to me. Every now and then you keep insulting me. Please don't do that. That is not something which I really like. Does the person stand up for himself or herself? And does the person stand up for you? If somebody is trying to insult you, do you feel protected when you are around the person, and do you feel safe around the person? And is the person dignified in his or her responses, dignified in their behavior, dignified even in their conflict, dignified even when they are in a rage, dignified even when you are at fault and they are trying to dress you down or correct you? But are they very dignified in their approach, and they also expect you to be dignified rather than screaming, shouting, ranting? Then is the person have situational awareness about the political situation, social situation. For example, if there have been few muggings around your house or your neighborhood or around the person's work, then you will obviously be a little concerned about the person. But if your partner is still hanging around in the same area with friends or not coming straight away from work in spite of some political turmoil going on, then you may feel that this person is lackadaisical in the approach. The person is not responsible enough. So is the person sharp enough about the situational awareness about his or her life, political awareness, financial security, financial awareness or not? Then is the person willing to invest in the relationship, willing to invest in the relationship by virtue of time, by virtue of money, by virtue of attention, by virtue of prioritizing you, prioritizing time with you, prioritizing maybe holidays with you. Now, it doesn't mean that you should be on top of the person's priority list all the time. The person may have many priorities. The person may have his or her own family, have his or her own work, have his or her own time with friends also. But do you figure in the top 3 or the top 2 at least, if not the top 3? And does the person spend more time with you or at work rather than with his or her family or with friends? Because once you are in his or her life, then the person should spend either most time at work or with you, especially if you are in a relationship, rather than spend too much time with friends or with family. So can the person invest in the relationship? And is the person more open about likes and dislikes? Likes and dislikes, not only about day-to-day likes and dislikes, kind of food, kind of maybe fashion apparel, kind of holidays, but also is the person open about likes and dislikes, open about financial planning of the person, open about their health challenges, open about their friend, open about their family, rather than hiding things from you. Maybe the person will open up slowly, but does the person open up rather than hide? For example, if the person has a friend who may be somebody who is a drug addict, so slowly does the person tell you that, see, I have a friend who is a drug addict, but I am not into drugs, I can handle that, so don't worry, please don't judge? Or does the person fear that you may judge him or her, because of which the person is hiding? So these are some pointers whether the person is open enough to be able to talk to you openly about these things or not. And there may be other things, for example, health issues about the person, goals about the person, future planning about the person, or anything which may generally hamper the relationship. Is the person open about them or not? And then is the person flexible enough, not too demanding? For example, the person demands that you cook very well, the person demands that you should always be in a good mood, the person demands that you should not spend here, you should not spend there, the person demands that the amount of time you can spend with your friends is only this much, the person demands that you should not indulge so much with your family, about your flexibility. If the person is too demanding, then obviously this is a problem. So the character of the person should be flexible enough and should not be too demanding on those areas which sometimes may be important part of your life. Then the daily dose that I talked about on a day-to-day basis, what sometimes can be too troublesome. For example, does the person communicate to you? Does the person listen? Is the person a good listener? Does the person acknowledge if you have said something, okay, yes, very well, no, I can't do that, yes, I will do that, what about this? Does the person communicate with you? Does the person listen to you? And does the person empathize with you if the situation demands sympathy? Does the person trust you? Does the person believe in you and is also believable himself rather than you thinking that this person is making up stories? Is the person respectful enough to you? And is the person generally available to you on a day-to-day basis rather than for 3 days I'm off, I can't talk to you, don't call me? Then you wonder what's going on. So is the person available to you? And does the person have personal hygiene? Sometimes people may not have good personal hygiene. on a day-to-day basis, spending time being intimate with a person who doesn't have hygiene, this can be a huge pointer to you that this person may not be the best person for you. And then, is the person helpful in talking to you if you have some challenge at work, helpful to you to run an errand for you, helpful to you if you want something to be repaired, helpful to you if you want some advice, helpful to you if the person wants you to give a helpful hand. Then does the person have flaws that you can tolerate? If the person is too much into drinking, too much into spending time with friends, too much into sports all the time, when the person comes home all he wants to do is watch sports, then this can be a problem. So does the person have so-called flaws which you can tolerate? If the person has flaws which you can't tolerate, then this is a problem. For example, somebody likes to eat out almost on a day-to-day basis. Now how much can you tolerate that? Rather than that, you can say, okay, you want to order food from outside, you can, but I don't like that. However, if the person is very disciplined about his or her health and does like to eat food, is a foodie, but you know that the person takes proper care of himself or herself in their health wise, then can you allow that flexibility to the person, because the person does seem to have that motivation to be able to then get on the treadmill the next day. So does the person have flaws which you can tolerate and which the person can work on? Then in general, on a day-to-day basis, do you feel pressured with him or with her? Do you feel unhappy around them? Do you feel anxious around them? Do you feel scared around him or her? Then obviously it's a problem, because on a day-to-day basis, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling fearful, if you're not happy, if you're not upbeat about yourself, especially in the company of the person, then obviously this is a pointer that this can be a troublesome relationship going forward even more. Then can you be yourself in front of the person? Laugh when you want, cry when you want, sulk a little bit every now and then, if at all you're going through that, burp if you are not able to control, fart once in a while, rather than being a farting machine. So can you do that? Can you be yourself? Or the person wants you to be dolled up all the time, can you be in your baggies? Can you be in your jeans? Can you be in your shorts? Just be casual, not looking your best, and still be chill around the person. And does the person on a day-to-day basis, if the person finds opportunity and the time or a situation, does the person compliment you, praise you? Does the person motivate you? Does the person reprimand you lightly if at all the person feels you're overindulging in food or having bad habits to your benefit, but in such a manner that you don't feel insulted, but you feel that, okay, this person is pushing me to be a better version of myself. So can the person work around the situation? Can you work around this situation? And can this relationship on a day-to-day basis be a happy, complimenting, motivating, praiseworthy relationship? And last but not the least, the red flags which are very critical before you commit, before you say yes, before you take a relationship forward, or before you accept the situation that you are in, or whether you need to take a decision even if you are in a relationship. These are very important red flags. For example, if the person cringy with some habits which the person have which puts you off, in terms of their jokes, in terms of their likes or dislikes, in terms of their hygiene issues and so forth. Secondly, if the person cranky most of the time, the person feels the person comes from work all the time screaming, shouting, talking about work. If the person has had a bad day, then you talk about the situation 15 minutes, hour, 2. Then if the person goes on and on till dinner, then after dinner you are like fed up, 3, 4, 5 hours, all the time you have talked about work. Can we stop it? Then the person loses his or her cool. So does the person show unpredictability, is temperamental, has mood swings, is grumpy most of the time, sulking most of the time, flies into a rage, sometimes at the drop of a hat, seems to be needing attention all the time, so clingy to you, or needs pampering all the time and is wanting you to cheer that up, honey, what about this, honey, what about that, or is too much of a spendthrift, spends all their money, or is too frugal and wants to save every bit of his or her money but wants you to spend, or hides things about their habits, hides things about their health, hides things about their goals, hide things about their future planning, financial planning, hide things about their family, hide things about certain things which are happening at work, then this can be a big problem for you. These are all red flags for you, which if you have seen them or if you come across them, you either sort them out, you talk it out, or you show some flexibility for some those flaws which you can be okay with. However, accumulation of many of these flags can be a big red flag for you and a warning sign for you. So friends, now that we have talked about how through questions, through checking instances, through asking the person, through testing the person little bit without getting too much on their nerves, in a playful manner, in a nudging manner, spending time with them, through being able to ascertain the different situations, asking, checking, testing, spending time, and through these you are able to get to know the person much better. So if you are getting into a relationship or you are about to get deeper into a relationship, say yes to a proposal, or if you have already said yes but you want to be absolutely sure, or you have already spent some time in a relationship, even in a committed relationship, even maybe in a married life, it is always better to then, especially if some red flags have been risen, to be able to check holistically in a detailed manner all these factors, then arrive at whether you want to continue in this relationship, say yes to a relationship, commit to this relationship, or take a call whether you want to be in this relationship or whether you want to be able to finish it off then and there, so that the person's life can also be much easier and better, and your life can also be better and more easier also. Because relationships are very important. We all have the right to be happy. We all have a right to feel loved. We all have a right to feel cherished. We also have a right to feel important and desired. And if certain things are hygiene for us, very important for us, and if the person doesn't fit the bill, on the other hand, if there are certain things which we need to correct in ourselves, then so be it. We need to be able to work on them, but we also need to check on a person who seems to fit the bill in most of the factors which are important for us, rather than us making too many compromises, because then the negative baggage sometimes can never heal, in fact even permanently. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Till some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.